In this video, I'm going to be discussing some crazy shit. Some things that to the average guy would seem insane, not possible, impossible, you name it. But it's real. And as you read in the thumbnail and in the title, I'm going to show you exactly how I can create cult-like obsession from women and how it's actually a very repeatable process when you understand these core 4 steps I'm going to break down in this video. Because when you have this level of power and jurisdiction over a woman, your life is way easier. You feel like a man. You have things on your terms. And your dating life is basically whatever you want it to be when you get incredibly elite at these 4 steps. So I'm going to post some screenshots up here right now and show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. And how this example, this girl that I'm going to use in this example that I've known for a total of 1 month is into me and obsessed with me in a way that most guys have never experienced. So far so that she wants to make me so happy that she's going to find me women and bring me girls. And that level of desire and power, I don't really talk about a lot because I know it's going to make a lot of guys uncomfortable because it's going to be very triggering. Like, damn, I can't even get a girl and this guy has women looking for other women for him. But lower your guard, lower the pissed off feeling you might have right now, and digest the information so that you too can have this. Because the power you feel from it is intoxicating and absolutely incredible. So let me break it down. Let me tell you, brick by brick, step by step, the 4 steps I've taken this girl through, how we got here in 1 month, and everything in between. I met this girl online, and this goes into step 1. Step 1 is we have to skyrocket initial interest. We have to skyrocket our perceived value and leverage in this girl's mind off the get-go. How do we do that? We need to have images in our online presence that show organic lifestyle that is very interesting. And again, this is just one piece of the puzzle, okay? I'm gonna tell you all the pieces, but this is just one piece. One really important piece is to max out your base looks, okay? I'm 5'9", I'm not shredded, right? Max things out. You don't need to get surgery, but max them out and have good lifestyle images. Now, the reason this is so important for psychology and for how women perceive you is they're herd thinkers. They need to see social proof. They need more certainty. They're not like guys. They're a different species almost. And with that being said, they weigh the value of an online presence incredibly on a large scale for how they perceive your value. That's step number 1. My images, my online presence is locked in. It looks great. It looks organic. It looks candid because it all is. And it looks and positions me in a way that is hard to replace because it is in the 1% of images of guys on the internet. And so I immediately differentiate myself from the herd of guys that normally bombard this girl. And for added context, she's young, she's 18, she has a lot of options. This isn't like a 50-year-old woman that's like widowed and alone. No disrespect to widows, but you get my point. This only matters, and this only is impressive and worth talking about because I'm doing it with a girl that is high value. And so if you want to play in the highest realms of submission and value of women, you have to lock in your online presence. You have to lock in your images. You have to lock in how a woman perceives how replaceable or irreplaceable you might be through images. Now, what else do you have to execute in terms of separating yourself from the herd and skyrocketing her initial interest? It is your behavior when you're texting and online. You have to overcompensate for all of the simps in her DMs. All of the simps are telling her she's beautiful. I'm obsessed with you. I love you. I was with a girl last night, different girl. This guy paid her like $1,000 yesterday to just talk to her. I saw it. She pulled up her phone to just talk to her. This is what women are conditioned to receive in terms of behavior from men. As a result, your behavior online, texting, FaceTime, whatever, has to differentiate you in terms of the value you bring to the table and their difficulty to ever replace you. That is leverage. If you're irreplaceable, you have maximum leverage. The only way you do that is behaving the exact opposite of the 99% of men who get no women, who are undesired, and carry themselves in a way that is absolutely pathetic. And so the way I execute this with her and with other women is my texting is very unique. It hits emotional polarity. There are times where I disappear. I'm very unpredictable. There are times when I'm there. There are times when I'm saying more and sometimes I'm saying less. Sometimes I use voice notes. Sometimes I make odd comments. and I tease them and I slam them. But the things I never do is I'm never consistent or readable or giving compliments like the 99%. My texting is very unique. Sometimes I'm an absolute dictator for like no reason, right? Massive emotional swings. Very assertive sometimes, out of the blue. Massive emotional swings. And no guy has the balls to be that assertive to begin with. And when you couple that in with an amazing online presence, and you're hitting emotional polarity, and you're hitting primal needs and desires because you're assertive, because you're a man, because you're taking charge, because you're making decisions, that leaves an impression on a woman's mind that is like, shit. I'm dealing with somebody that really knows what he's doing. I'm dealing with somebody that is just, he's got it. Like he has it. He has it. I know he has it because I see it and I feel it. When they see it and they feel it with behavior and with presentation, the interest skyrockets above every other guy imaginable. You stand alone. Now, step 1 gets us to setting plans. This is the stage where you set plans. Now, for this girl, I threw in a FaceTime, a brief one, because I was going, when I first met her, I did same day plans in terms of setting the plans. When you add a little bit more friction, you want to compensate with something to release some of the friction. So I threw in a FaceTime. Sometimes they work great. Sometimes they're needed. If you're crushing volume with women, then it's probably a waste of time. But sometimes they're really, really helpful. So I hopped on a FaceTime. She lowered anxiety a ton, felt way more comfortable, and we hung out the same day, the same night. Now, step 1 is getting you to plans, okay? Step 1 is getting you to plans. That is the whole point, to convert you to plans. To do enough of the interest and of lowering the anxiety and increasing the comfort and creating the tension to where they're like, yes, I want to see you in person. Now, obviously, if I met her in person, I'd be telling you a different sequence, but it's very similar frameworks, okay? Now, in the beginning, right, prior to the first hangout, effort and intrigue is about 50-50 because I'm persuading her, obviously in a nonchalant way, obviously in a casual way, but I am the one being assertive and setting things up logistically and having plans and all of these things. So effort and intrigue is about 50-50 in the beginning. Now that's going to swing pretty heavily as you progress forward, but that is where it starts out. Now, step 2 is when you actually see them in person. Step 2 we can call walk the walk, talk the talk. You have to be congruent with your great step 1 with a great step 2. And a great step 2 is crushing the date. Some things that I've done to get to a point where I'm really good on dates is 1, I've done a ton of inner work. Now, the inner work that I've done affects my nonverbal presence. It affects my aura. It affects my charisma. It affects my body language. It affects my tonality. It affects my eye contact with them. How comfortable I am in my own skin to where they feel a presence that is very concrete. It's very certain. As a result of my certain and confident presence, their anxiety drops heavily and their intrigue skyrockets. Their desire goes up because they feel like they're in the presence of a guy that can lead, that can keep them safe, that can turn their brain off. That also falls into being really good at game. Like, what kind of questions are you asking? Your timing of asking them, your comments, how you pivot, conversational flow. This is all game and understanding female psychology. How you don't fall for the bait of going on a life story tangent because they asked you one, right? Navigating conversation is game. That's actually how, you escalate physically. That is game. And that's all based on your understanding of female psychology. You need to be elite in person. You need to know how to create tension. Very important. How to demonstrate that you are superior in person with your comments and with your teasing in a playful way that lands. Very, very important. You have to crush stage 2. If you seem like you have a lot of leverage, but then you go in person and you're a dork, it'll all go out the door. And she'll realize she has the leverage. She's not that interested. Now, step 2 is to escalate to intimacy, right? And to get to the physical aspect, which I did. Mission accomplished. And now we move on to stage 3. Stage 3 is about frame control. It's about handling shit tests and maintaining the dynamic and changing your behavior. So in the beginning, effort and intrigue is very 50-50. Now we want to skew it like 80-20 in her angle after physical intimacy. Now, a lot of you are going to say, isn't all this like manipulation? Aren't we just doing, dark psychology? No, I'm actually doing her a favor. I know she's going to like me. I know she's going to want to be with me. I know she's going to want to spend time with me. And if I behave in a way that is open, transparent, and a goody two-shoe, I'm going to actually destroy and ruin all of that for her, because on a primal subconscious level, she can't help but now hate me. So I'm actually doing her a favor by behaving in a way that is unorthodox as it pertains to being logical, because women aren't logical. So it's not manipulation. I'm aligning myself with nature. Now, stage 3, let me give you an example of frame control and handling shit test. So she's hot and heavy after the first night we hung out and hooked up, right? She's coming at me, whatever. I'm going back and forth with her a little bit. And then she basically vanishes on like the second day. Watching my stories though, liking my stories, but vanishes, right? And this can happen for a couple different reasons. She's afraid she's gonna get too attached. She's afraid she's gonna get played, whatever, right? It typically comes from fear because I knew she liked me, but I'm not gonna tolerate it. So I sent her a video on a Friday, like 3 days later, after she's doing this bullshit. I sent her a video that disappeared on Instagram. I sent her a video and I was like, look, you're gonna have to go and replace me if you keep up with this bullshit. Verbatim, by the way. I'm not exaggerating. Verbatim. And I knew I could do this because I knew she was super into me. She was just wearing a mask. We already had sex. And I knew where I stood with her. And I knew I had the frame. She was just being a dumbass. And so I literally verbatim said, I don't have time for this. You're gonna have to go replace me. I'm not gonna fucking deal with this. So you need to figure it out or take care. It's almost verbatim what I said. She was obsessed with that video. So happy I did it. Oh my God, you checked me. Wow, now I'm obsessed. Oh my God, you won. You're the king, blah, blah, blah. Easy. Because I knew exactly in that moment, she's misbehaving on purpose so that I could slam her down. When things get too easy with women, when things are too comfortable and you're not consistently slamming them down, they get bored and act out, praying that you react in a way that does slam them down. That's why they misbehave. They misbehave for punishment. They're addicted to it. It helps them feel inferior, which they need from you. And so I knew exactly what was going on. She needed punishment. Boom, I did it. And then desire went through the roof, and I maintained that frame of not being happy with her, right? I just be like, okay, great, yay, right? Obviously. I strung it along, I took longer to respond. Now I have full control. Right? Now I have a lot of power. Because now that she knows I have the frame and I will do these things and I will walk away and I will show my cards like fuck off. Now I have all the power. I know she doesn't want to lose me. And so I take longer to respond now, blah, 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 blah. And at that point, it's about not changing, which goes into stage 4. What happens in stage 4 with most situations like this, or with most situations in general, is guys soften up and they get mushy. Guys would see a girl being like, I'll bring you girls, whatever you want, blah, blah, blah. And they would crumble instantly. Oh my God, you're the best. I've always wanted a girl like you. God, this is the perfect relationship. Suicide. Stage 4 is about never wavering, never changing, and never reciprocating. As you can see in some of these messages, I may say one thing, she says 5. She might respond immediately, I take my fucking time. And I hold this because the second I change, it becomes a lesbian relationship, like I said in one of my last videos. You need to maintain the dynamic in the frame that you are the A side, and she is doing things to impress you. This is how it's molded. This is the psychology behind desire that is like, literally, bringing me other women, wanting me to be with other women, not giving a shit, being loyal. Like this is how you do it, when you do it at the highest levels. And again, it's only worth mentioning because she is high value, young, attractive, submissive, right? She's 50, no one gives a shit what I'm doing. Not cool. And so if you want to play in the highest levels of women and get the most power humanly possible to where people look at you like, how is this even possible? You need to master those 4 steps. If you want to learn how to implement this with the nuance and the context to your specific dating life to change your life forever, click the links below to work with me, and I'll see you inside.